been flying, cold and solid glass. Oh, I have my need.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of another Bourbon Show. I'm super excited for this episode, and matter of fact, I'm excited for the next 4 episodes too. Unlike those last 4 trash ones we did. Yeah, they were shit. Not counting the Spirits of French Lick, Fascination Street. That was a pretty bomb-ass episode, I think. But anyway, I'm excited because I'm going to get to share my love of the Michter's Distillery with Ryan and Steven. And we've already drank their sour mash on the show. We've had their rye on the show. I don't know what other selections from Michter's Ryan and Steven have both had, but I guarantee they've never had 3 of the 4 that we're getting ready to try, including tonight's episode, which is this one right here. This is Michter's Sour Mash Toasted Barrel. So before we do anything else, Steven, what do you think?
Now, so I've given my Michter's ratings before, and they're all very similar. So I don't know what I gave it before, but it was probably around the 6 range. It doesn't really matter. And so I'm going to be giving this guy a 6 as well. Or at least I think it is a 6. It can't be much different what I gave the other ones. But I will say that I like this color a little more than some of the other ones. I think it fits the bottle well. I think it looks really nice up against the natural color of the whiskey. And I think the whiskey has a really good color to it. So it's cool that it's also in a clear bottle as opposed to being an amber bottle or something like that. I think all the colors just look nice. And I think that the Michter's, the little script that they write it with, looks best against a color like this, as opposed to one of the ones you have behind you, which is like a cream color to it.
Mm-hmm. That's the bourbon.
Reversed. Yeah. Like when it's reversed and the cream color is the letters themselves. So
okay.
Pretty high marks on this one.
Okay, cool. So if you're newer to bourbon, just in the last part of the boom or whatever, you may not know that Michter's ever did a toasted sour mash, because this bottle is 2 years old. It hasn't come out since then. It was a limited release and they've only done it once. But their sour mash, again, it's not a bourbon. If it was a bourbon, then they would label it as a bourbon. But it being a sour mash, that means that none of the grains that are used in the mash bill exceed 50%. Because if it was 51% rye, then it would be a rye whiskey. If it was 51% corn or more, then it would be a bourbon. So we know that it doesn't have more than 50% of anything, but we don't know exactly what that combination is. And again, this is finished off in a toasted barrel. 86 proof, 86 even. So it's actually a lower proof than their standard sour mash. Their standard sour mash, if memory serves, is 86.4, I think. Or it's identical, either one. But that's Michter's toasted sour mash. Again, we don't know what I don't know what the mash bill is. It's not open. It's not available.
I'm surprised that it has a lower proof. That was a surprising fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, especially if you're putting it through a process where you're toasting the barrel and you want that extra character to it, that extra flavor to it, it seems like conventional. Now, we talked about this before with Michter's, that they're able to do a lot with a low proof. So I guess it shouldn't surprise me that much, but it still surprises me that you would go with a lower, just compared to the regular sour mash, you would go with a lower proof when you're really trying to get it to soak up that toasted barrel sort of finish and flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
Seems counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, I can't speak for Michter's why they did it. But again, for folks that aren't familiar, what Steven is talking about is the fact that everything that Michter's does enters into the barrel initially at 102 proof. I think that's the lowest out of any. I know it's the lowest out of any major distillery. There might be some craft distiller that enters the barrel at a lower proof than 102, but I'd be really surprised. And the reason for that, the reason I'd be surprised is because it's actually almost wasteful to barrel it at such a low proof. They could make a lot more money if they were to barrel it at a higher proof, because they'd be able to get more of that liquor, that alcohol, out of the mash bill, the fermentation process. So they're actually like kind of leaving money on the table, if you will, by barreling it at such low proof. But what you get from that is a much more full flavor profile, because you're picking up so many of those grains from the mash bill process and the yeast itself. So yeah, I don't know why they decided to bottle it at 86. It could be financial reasons. It could, but I would be inclined to think that 86 proof was the flavor profile that it presented the best in the master distiller's eyes. So what do you say we give it a go?
Let's do it.
Do it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Michter's month.
Cheers to the month of Michters. 5 full weeks of Michters.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that, I get a lot of caramel, and that toasted caramel specifically off the nose.
Yeah.
Not much
cherry.
else.
Yeah, I get some cherry notes to it. I get
do
a
as
little
well.
fruit. Yeah.
I
get
can
some
see that, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And even at a 86 proof, it's got it leaves some like really nice legs on the glass. Like there's a very clear line of where it coats the glass and it stays there. And again, with a lower proof, you don't expect to see that very often, because a lot of times that oil gets diluted when they add water to proof it down. But I love the nose on it.
Try it.
Yeah, let's go. Cheers.
I'm excited.
Smooth. Very smooth. Very light.
It is.
But I would still say that it's got a medium length finish, right? Like it's a light finish all the way through, but it lasts for a long time, in my opinion.
It does for sure. I still feel it in my throat.
Yeah, I still feel it on my tongue.
Yeah.
Like both, right? It's given me a nice little Kentucky hug in my chest, in my stomach area. I still feel a little bit of the finish on my tongue. So I'm going to change that from a medium length to a long finish, actually.
I thought I would get more like that, decadence to it. Not to sell it short, but I get a lot of honey.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the biggest thing I'm getting right now. And the more I drink it, I'm sure I'll catch other things. And there's always kind of real small hint of like chocolate, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of honey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on the nose you get caramel. On the palate you do get honey. I don't get any caramel on the palate at all.
No.
That's got to be throwing you for. Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be throwing you.
No caramel, asshole.
Throwing you for a loop, isn't it, Ryan?
It is. I mean, I haven't had a lot of toasted whiskeys, like Elijah Craig. I was blown away by. So, and I still really like this.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like I like the Elijah Craig a little more. This gets me excited for.
I agree.
That. Yeah, this gets me real excited for their toasted rye.
Oh, their toasted rye.
This is. I feel like it's a good lead up to it.
Yeah.
A good opener.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for the closer, Keith Folk, Adam Wainwright in 2001 or however old he is. Is he still pitching?
He is.
He is.
Steven,
Steven, I want to hear what you have to say about the whiskey.
So I guess my initial reaction is I enjoyed it quite a bit. But it's one thing I'll say is you guys were talking a lot about the long finish earlier. I think what contributes to that to the most for me is that it's a very dry sort of quality to it, because you were talking about how it maintains a lot of its oils, and you definitely get that coating in your mouth. So it just feels like, I think like it's a long time for that to dissipate, and that's what creates that finish. And as a result of that, it's very much a full mouth sort of flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, what's interesting to me is it's not super complex, to be honest. It's pretty much what it smells like. There wasn't a lot there at the end of it that I didn't get at the start, but it's just there for a while. So in that way, it's kind of unique. It's one of the strongest lasting finishes that we've had, but it doesn't get more complex or anything throughout. So, but I'm enjoying it. I think it's a good flavor. It's a good taste to it. It's definitely more complex though than just the regular sour mash. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is. I agree with everything you just said, Stephen. Yeah, it's more complex than the standard sour mash. It's a to me it's a really really good pour. And I just looked up online and I saw that, of course, this is only available on the secondary market at this point. On the secondary market, it ranges from $150, which is from a .com that I, honest to God, wouldn't really trust to begin with, all the way up to $700 and that's from Drizzly, which is a company that I would trust if I was going to buy it. Now, I would not pay $150 for this bottle. I goddamn sure would not pay $700 for this bottle. I acquired it through a trade, and I'm satisfied with the trade that I made for it, because for me, it just made sense to make that trade. If I saw somebody and they had this on their shelf and they were offering to sell it to me, I'd offer $70, maybe 75. And if they said, no, I want 85, I'd say, then keep the bottle, because I'm not paying $85 for it. That's where I look at it as far as like what I'm tasting versus what that monetary value is. But that's just me.
I think you're saying that though, I think it should be noted as a Michter's fan. I do think that there's quite a bit of stuff out there that is, you can get a lot for 70, 75 bucks. You know what I mean? And I think that you're talking about that because you're a Michter's fan and because it's only available secondary at this point. So it's understandable. But this is not one that, like, although I'm liking it so far, it's very good. It's very good. It's just not one that I don't think I'd buy from somebody. I would just, unless I was getting like a awesome deal, I would just, even MSRP, I don't know that I would buy it unless it was just readily available on the shelf. It's something that I would keep in mind when I would go shopping for something. There's so much out there, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, it goes back to something that Ryan said a second ago. Head to head with Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. I think Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel is probably better than this. Honest to God. I would say in a blind, this loses to Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. But again, I am a Michter's fan, and I see Michters, I want Michters, right? Like that's just how I am. Reasonably, I'm not going to overspend ever. But I would like to have another bottle of this just to last me until they eventually put out another Sour Mash Toasted Barrel.
I was hoping this would be a little sweeter, like those toasted notes I really like, kind of like the s'more aspect of it. And I just don't really get that. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but when I see toasted, I just have ingrained in my head, like, okay, this is going to be real decadent. And I just don't really get those notes from it. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, well, earlier on, before I don't think we were recording yet, and you asked me which I thought you'd like better, this or the rye, and unquestionably, hands down, not even close, the rye. The rye, I think you're gonna be like, holy shit, god damn, that's good.
Do you think I'm gonna like it more than Elijah Craig?
I don't know about that. I do very much so.
So is it more of a decadent type whiskey then?
Well, we'll find out next week. That is what we're drinking next week, right?
Yeah.
And then so the order goes this toasted rye, bourbon, 10-year Bombergers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I'm really excited for.
I mean, honest to God, you should be looking forward to 3 of the 4 barrels
Oh,
bottles up
I
there.
am, but
like,
I just felt like an idiot because you're like, hey, I can get you a bottle of Bombergers. And I was like, oh, I think I'll be all right because I didn't even know what it was at the time. And then in hindsight, I'm like, God damn it.
Why do you tell me that?
huh?
Why do you tell me this?
Because you're fucking broke ass.
It was more than $20, dude.
What's that?
It was more than $20, dude.
You listen, dude. Just because I'm not going to the spa every day doesn't mean I can't afford a more than $20 bottle.
No, but for the past year plus, anytime I've said anything about like spending any money doing anything, you're like, "No, man, I'm saving for a house. No, man, you know what? Eventually, it's gonna be. Well, I'm not gonna ask him because I already know what his answer is gonna be, and it's fair. I'm not even making fun of you.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's an answer to your question.
Yeah, it's true. I gotta buy a lot of fucking shit.
Yeah, you do.
You know, but one thing I was gonna say is that I think I'm trying to think how to phrase this. I think with the Michter's line, I think it's such a novelty to me that they're able to do what they're able to do with such a low proof, that to me it makes there's so much intrigue to the bottle that it adds a lot of value to me personally. And I'll say that drinking it now, I also like that the sour mash has a mystery of what the exact mash bill is. But I would say from drinking it, it's just my guess of my unsophisticated palate. My guess is that it's way more corn than anything else still. I don't get a lot of, just based on my knowledge, I don't get a lot of rye from it. I don't get like a ton of spice. It's obviously there, but I don't get a ton of it. And I also don't get a ton of like wheat or anything like that that's coming out of it. So I don't.
There are people way smarter than me who like they try and they put a lot of effort into figuring out the mash bill of things that are undisclosed mash bills. There's nothing that I've read from any of those very, very smart people that assume that there is any wheat in this at all, nor any of those other unusual grains. All of the suspicion is that it's corn, malted barley, and rye. Just those 3, nothing else. I would say it probably is predominantly corn, but I don't know. Like, it can't be significantly more corn than anything else, because even if it's 49% corn, you've still only got 51% between the malted barley and the rye, right? Like,
yeah, I would say that what led me to say that is I feel like, and this is maybe weird to say, but I feel like I get a lot of mellow corn from this. I feel like overall when I'm drinking this, I think that there's qualities both in mouthfeel and overall taste that are similar to me to mellow corn if you finished it in something, like some sort of barrel or something like that. That's just my opinion. This is like a finished mellow corn to me. Obviously, there's other stuff going on. Yeah.
That's interesting. And I brought down a second glass, an empty glass, and I didn't know what I was going to use it for, but I think I just figured it out. Give me a second. Oh, you know what? It's right here.
Never leave home without it, like the Batman credit card.
I've got like 7 of them stashed around the house just so there's always one within arm's reach.
Now, again, before you try it and say I'm a dumbass, just keep in mind, I'm not saying it's straight up corn whiskey. Obviously,
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there's a lot of qualities with the mouthfeel and overall taste as a whole.
I think it's cute that you assume I have to try this side by side to assume that you're a dumbass.
That's just like your opinion, man.
I haven't had.
I watched The Big Lebowski the other day, by the way.
What a good movie.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
John Goodman is just hysterical. It's still when he tells Johnny to shut up in the movie theater, and he's got the rolled up piece of paper, and he puts it over his head. He's got this gigantic head, and then he goes like that. I think that's streaming on Netflix now. I need to watch it.
It is. That's where I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. No. Like, not even close, Steven. Like, I mean, okay, here. I can see why you said that. I'm picking up aspects of it, blah, blah, blah. But
Don't fucking patronize me, okay? I stand by it. To me, the mouthfeel is very similar. I feel like when I'm drinking Mellow Corn...
mouthfeel, maybe.
Don't fucking... We can move on. Don't fucking maybe me, okay? You disagree, that's fine. I'm telling the viewers one thing. You can tell them another. They can draw their own conclusions. This is the episode where we draw the line in the sand, and people find out if they're a Steve guy or a Dan guy, okay? And then we'll just ignore the other one's reviews from now on.
You know what's funny, though? On TikTok, there's one person who has made the decision on whose palate they are most closely
aligned with.
There you go. And it's fucking Ryan. It's fucking jack off. It's so funny because, like, out of nowhere, this chick is just like, I'm really finding I really am into Ryan's preferences, and I'm like, seriously, the caramel vanilla guy.
Yeah. Remember, Ryan Delappy said that's how you know someone doesn't know what they're talking about. So I guess these people online looking for bourbon reviews, turns out they don't know what they're talking about, and then they find Ryan.
What can I say? I'm a professional.
That was good timing too. Like, because it happened this week.
I thought you were going to set that up that it was Steven, but I mean, after that Mellow Corn debacle right there, I'm glad it's not.
Oh yeah, he fucked that up. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still happy that he said it, because it caused me to pour a glass of Mellow Corn, and we all know Dan likes his Mellow Corn.
I haven't had Mellow Corn since that night we did it.
Why?
And I don't know why. I have so much whiskey.
Yeah.
And you've sent so much whiskey too that it's just like, and I'm not a big home drinker, so either what I'm drinking is what we're doing on the show, or what you sent me of what we're doing on the show. So
yeah,
maybe I'll go buy a bottle and bring it up with me to Michigan. I'll just be slamming it while I'm getting a pedicure.
I'm still so happy that you two, especially you, liked Mellow Corn so much. Because that's one of those, like, it's the most, like, just the least pretentious, least fucking, like...
And I would go on a limb to say it's the coolest looking bottle I've ever seen in whiskey. It's bar none the best. And I'm not just saying it to spite Steven, but
yeah,
when I follow their Instagram, we've talked about this before, and it's just, I mean, it's a beautiful bottle. I mean, if I owned a bar, that's definitely something I would align the tops with,
Yeah, like an entire 12 bottle case just up at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't even open the bottle. Yeah, if you don't even open the bottle, whatever.
This guy, by the way, because this absolutely tracks, because Ryan... One time in college, well, I say one time in college, but throughout all of college, Ryan had a Spy versus Spy poster, which, if you don't know, is from the Mad TV segment. I think it existed outside of it before, but Ryan had a Spy versus Spy poster on his wall for basically all 4 fucking years of college, okay? He moved to different places, always had it. And I would go over multiple times. I never thought anything of it. I don't know why. It was just like, oh, yeah, that's Ryan's poster. It's massive poster, Spy versus Spy, over his entire bedroom wall. Now, one day, just a couple years ago, I've known Ryan for years now, and I just messaged him. I was like, hey, whatever was up with that Spy versus Spy poster? Are you big Spy versus Spy fan? And Ryan just goes, Oh no, Ryan's like, no, I accidentally bought that in the quad, like one of the first days of freshman year.
It was
I
in
was,
the wrong like oh, it's
Tube.
this poster is like 12. You
Yeah.
pick it up, you know.
but he gets home and he's like, you know what? Fuck it, hang it up. Then whenever he moves, he just keeps it up. He moved multiple times. He just kept it up the whole time. It's like that one Mitch Hedberg bit where he talks about how Pringles is a laid back company. He's like, I think they were just like a tennis ball company. But then one day the guy just showed up with potatoes. He was like, fuck it, cut them up. Like, that's right.
I don't know why I never even threw it away. It was a big poster.
It was massive. And it hung over. It was like the centerpiece over your bed.
So I want to know, what were you trying to buy when you accidentally bought the Spy versus Spy?
Yeah, I think it was a Beatles, like a big beat, like Abbey Road
Yeah.
is originally what I wanted. And then I get home and I'm like, well, that was on Mad TV. I used to watch that in high school. So I'll just put it up. I could not tell you a thing about Mad Magazine or Spy vs. Spy. Oh my God, at this point, I'm too far gone in the game where I just got to keep it.
Well, where is it now?
Oh, after college, I threw it away. But
Okay.
we'll go out and try to find a new one. I'll put it over my bed. I'm sure my wife would love it.
Hey, have you guys ever had a pedicure?
I get a manicure. I get mani-pedi like once a month.
Oh, good for you, man. Oh, God. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, when you think of army dudes or like infantry types, you think like manly men. I tell you what, every one of those motherfuckers who ever had a single pedicure started getting one once a month, because your feet just hurt so goddamn bad because you're marching all over the goddamn place in army boots, of course. And like, then you have a pedicure and you're like, oh my God, like my toes feel lighter after a pedicure. It's just
have you gotten paraffin wax?
I've not.
It's like hot wax that like molds around your foot.
Okay.
And it's really warm. It's just really relaxing.
Yeah.
And soothing. It's awesome.
Just feels so good.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we have this topic because just yesterday I got a haircut, and
I was gonna ask if you did.
Yeah, I needed one so goddamn badly. And so I go to a place down here called the Hair Saloon. It's just for men, like, and I prefer that place, right?
As most public locations should be. Yep.
Exactly. But I signed up for my appointment online, and I guess I clicked the button that asked for like a neck shave with like a straight edge.
Oh, yeah.
And a scalp massage. And I didn't mean to, but I did. And so she finishes my haircut and she like smears the shit on my neck. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Was it warm shaving?
Oh, of course it was. Yeah, it was. It was warmed. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, that's nice. And then she like pours, like drizzles oil all over my head. And again, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then she started massaging, and I was just like, oh, this was worth an extra $10 or however much I paid. Like this is absolutely worth it. And then when she finishes it off with a tug job, I was like, done. No, well, that part didn't happen. But
I was telling Steve, I guess, I mean, we're already recording, so it doesn't really matter at this point, right, dude?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Yeah. No, so I'm going to Grand Rapids tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got a wedding for I'll just say a friend of my wife's, just in case anyone ever listens. But the wedding's up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and on Friday my wife's gonna be doing like getting ready for the rehearsal dinner and like helping out with errands and doing all that shit. And I'm just gonna be at the hotel all day. So I'm like, you know what? 11:30 a.m. I schedule myself a massage.
Yeah,
hour massage, deep tissue.
Yeah.
After that, I get in the car, I drive 10 minutes. I'm getting a mani pedi at a place right down the street with the paraffin wax. I think like they do like a foot massage too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. 2:30 p.m. I signed up for a facial as well.
Good for you, bro.
Yeah.
Glam it up.
I'm doing it. I'm probably gonna be the only dude in that salon by myself, but I don't care. It's
Glam
relaxing.
it up.
And so many people make fun of me because I like to get mani pedis every like once a month. It's nice. It's relaxing. I mean, I do a clear coat on my nails too, so maybe that's less manly. But with my job, my nails don't break ever now.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. If you're a dude, you've never got a mani pedi. And pedicures are the best.
Oh yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you get a really good one, there's nothing like it. But get the paraffin wax. If there's like a massage option for your calves and your feet, do that. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I mean, when I lived over in Germany, like when I wasn't deployed, I still got them. I don't know if it was once a week or once a month. I don't remember, but I mean, I was regularly there having it done because like when you have a manicure, they like massage your hands, and when they are massaging like right here, oh my God, you just melt. It just feels so good. So yeah, more power to you. If somebody doesn't like it, fuck them. Who cares?
That's what I say. Maybe I'll go in my Italy tracksuit.
No, that'd be dumb, but whatever.
Yeah, I think it's just people make fun of you because of the rest of your persona that you play up at all times. Like, you're not in The Sopranos. You're a bitch ass, dude.
And Dan, you finished The Sopranos, right?
I did, yeah.
There's a scene I've always wanted to do this where I'm getting a manicure, get a phone call and I answer it, and because Paulie Walnuts, he goes, "I'll do the satin finish, dear." Hey Tone, I'm like, that'd be the best thing ever. He's in like a tracksuit. It's hysterical. It's hysterical.
Oh God, that's great. Now to go back on how wrong Steven was for giving it like a 3 or whatever he gave it. I still stand by my guns that yes, on one hand I do agree it's an ugly label, but it fits it so goddamn perfectly. And I am forever a fan of that ugly, bright yellow, green, and red label.
It's not even ugly, though.
think...
I mean, the colors aren't the best aesthetic in the world, but the act. I mean,
would you even say they're ugly? It's a gaudy. It's gaudy. It's not. It's clashing. It's a relic of a bygone era.
Yeah, of course.
Come on, dude. How do you hate that?
I don't hate it. So this is what you're confusing. I don't hate it. I just think it's not a good looking. It's good looking and you're fond of it, but it's the porn stash of.
That's exactly what I called it.
Bottles, yeah.
That's exactly what I called it.
So I agree with you on all that, but I mean, you don't look at a dude's porn stash and you're just like, what a beautiful man. You're just like, that dude is a specimen. That's what.
But you think to yourself, wow, that's perfect for what this man does.
Yeah.
Like,
so I agree. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
And that's why this is a 10. Moving on.
Not a 10. If I gave that a 10, I wouldn't have any fucking credibility. I'm not saying I do, but I just wouldn't if I did that.
But that would at least give you a reason for not having credibility.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say? We want to go ahead and rate this son of a bitch?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who wants to go first? If nobody else wants to, I will, but I'll leave it up to you guys.
I'll give it a fucking score.
All right, give it a fucking score, Steven.
I'm going to go with an 8.3.
8.3. All right. What's your reasoning?
It's just, to me, it's really good. I like it less than some of my tops. Like, to me, it's like hallowed ground getting above an 8.5, really. I mean, it's really, really solid. It's still real close to that, but I just think that it's, like we talked about, it's just not overly complex or anything like that. It just kind of is what it is, and it's really good at that. Yeah, I think it's just a solid whiskey overall, and I wanted the score to reflect that. But I don't think that I don't think it's going to be in my upper echelon. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't go and I wouldn't buy it since it's only available secondary. I'll say, just like you basically said, I won't be buying it secondary.
Yeah.
But it's very good. If you have the opportunity to try it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. 8.3.
If you were at a restaurant, what would you pay for a glass of it?
It's a good question. I think probably $10 range. Honestly, not. I wouldn't go too much further. I think like it's not so. The more I drink of it, the more I like it. So if I'm just having a single pour of it, to me, it doesn't beat some of the other. If it's anything that I've ranked higher, would be on the list, I would pay a little bit more for it or the same price.
Okay, fair enough. I just, since you the way you worded it, I figured that was a solid question.
Yeah.
Ryan, you want me to go next, or do you want to go?
I can go. I'm gonna go a little lower. I'm gonna go a 7.5. And my reasoning is I just expected it to be more decadent, more like a dessert wine, sweet. I didn't really get the notes that I thought I would from it. It's very like I get a lot of honey on the palate, and I like honey. It's not my like you know, it's not my go-to. Like if I'm going for a whiskey that's I don't go for whiskeys that come off the tongue as very honey, but I still think it's very good. And there's some notes of chocolate, maybe like a little apricot. Like the nose was really nice. I actually kind of preferred the nose over drinking it, if that makes any sense. I thought the more I smelled the whiskey, the more I liked it. But the taste just wasn't all there for me, and that's not a negative. I'm not knocking it, but we were talking about how much you'd pay for it out. A couple of weeks ago, I sent you guys a picture, the Angel's Envy rye. I think I was paying like 13 or 14 bucks a pour, which is kind of hefty. I probably, wouldn't pay anything over like $8 for this.
Yeah.
And I definitely wouldn't buy it at secondary market price. I'd consider it like $70, $75, but Michter's I like all the Michters. I don't know. I'm not let down. I was just expecting something else, if that makes sense. Still a great whiskey, but I was just hoping the decadence of it would be a little more than it was.
Yeah.
I can't believe this would sell for $700 on a secondary market. That's nuts to me.
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. And yeah, so on some levels, I agree with both of you guys. My rating overall is going to be a 7.9, so it's actually like right in between you two. For parts of the same reasons of both of you. This is a bottle that I'm really glad that I have, right? I will never question the trade that I made. And if people are interested, the trade that I made was a Pappy Lot B for the Michter's Toasted Sour Mash and a bottle of Michter's 10-year bourbon. I will never regret that call. I'm glad I have this bottle. I will not regret it. But this is a bottle that I'll have for a long time. And the only time I'll do really like solid damage to this bottle is if I have multiple people here and we're doing flights of stuff and like comparing stuff. Not blind, but just, hey, here's something you might not have tried before. And here's an interesting expression that you can experience that you can't experience in a whole lot of other places. If I was at a restaurant, I don't know what I would pay for a pour of it, because there's a good chance that if I'm at a restaurant, I'm not picking this. Even if it's $5, I'm probably not picking this because it's really good and I really enjoy it. But there are other things that I would want to experience likely. So yeah, that's the reason I'm going with the 7.9 is that I do really like it, but it's a situational bourbon or situational whiskey, if you will. So there you have it. 7.9, an 8.3, and a 7.5.
What's the last Michter's we did? Was it just their regular rye?
Yeah, the last one was part of Rye Month, and it was just Michter's Rye.
I think I even prefer that one over this one a little more.
Would you?
Yeah, I think I rate it higher. It's hard for me. I don't have as good a memory like thinking back as Steven does, but I remember I was like really impressed by the Michter's Rye. And I've had it before, maybe that's why. But I would pay for a bottle of that probably 5 times over than buying this for $200-300 on the secondary market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another brother show.
Because I agree with you, just on principle, it doesn't make sense for you to do it.
Okay.
You motherfucker.
What just happened?
I just
Yeah,
text Ryan, and it said nothing but "you motherfucker."